Today on our show, we're going to be talking about Black Panther, and we're also going to be talking about tickling.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about tickling, well, tickling your funny bone. At least we're going to try to. Next on the Nerdynomicon. Welcome to the Nerdynomicon. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Adrian.
All right, man, before we get into our news, before we get into our topics and all that, I think it's a really, really, really important thing that we sit down and pay a little bit of a tribute to a fallen titan, a fallen, cowled legend, if you will. Within the past week, we lost the great Adam West, the first televised, the first live-action iteration of Batman.
I mean, there's not much you can say about him. It's not the Batman of this era, but without him, the Batman of this era would not exist.
You couldn't have said it better. You really couldn't have. His Batmobile, iconic. His portrayal of Batman, whether you are referencing it in joke form or whether you're talking about the sincerity of his performance, I'm pretty sure he didn't play it sincere, but you know what? That doesn't matter. He was a fun Batman. He was the first Batman. He was iconic with the pows and the zaps and the bings and the bagows that showed up on screen. I remember watching it as a kid, dude. I mean, that sounds like it dates me, but it was like on fucking TV Land or something like that. I don't know, but I watched the shit out of that even before the animated series came on. My grandma loved it. Believe it or not, my grandmother was my introduction to Batman because she had a crush on Adam West and Elvis. So I was watching that at an early age. And if you didn't love Adam West from Batman, you certainly loved him as Mayor West on Family Guy. So the man was everywhere. He was ingrained in our pop culture. And he will absolutely sorely be missed. I really hope that this isn't a prediction for how 2017 is going to turn, Adrian, Steve.
I agree. And you mentioned something. I just lost the phrase. You're saying he was an authentic. Is that pretty much... You said something like that? His portrayal... What was...
something to that effect. I mean, I don't feel like he played him all that authentic. I think he played Batman more tongue-in-cheek. But, you know, he may be authentic for the times. But regardless, it was iconic. So maybe authentic was the wrong term. Iconic would be the term that I don't think anyone could dispute.
Okay. I thought I heard you say something like authentic, and it sparked something in my head that I remember catching on Reddit. So anyone who's on Reddit already knows this. But you might have missed it, Robbie, and I think you'll laugh really hard.
Okay.
That Adam West was once kicked out of a celebrity orgy for remaining in character.
No shit. Are you serious about this? This is not a joke?
No, apparently it's not a joke. I'm trying to figure out. It's a classic.
Holy shit.
He mentions in his memoir Back to the Batcave and frequently brings it up as a fun memory.
Oh my god, that's fucking amazing. And you know what? I could see that happening. I really could. One of the most tragic things that luckily did have a happy ending about Adam West's life is he was our Batman for 30, 40 years before he was able to get a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame. As a matter of fact, Ralph Garman from Hollywood Babylon was one of the pioneers trying desperately to give Batman his star. He even had a documentary out called Starring Adam West, which was essentially a movie about the process of getting Adam West his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And luckily, this did end before his untimely passing with a success story. He did finally get his star on the Walk of Fame. But you cannot believe the amount of people that got on there just randomly and just unfairly over someone like Adam West. You know, he's a key to not just our childhood, but generations before us a key to their childhood. You know, you don't get the Nolan-verse Batman movies without going through Adam West first. He was the first one. And that Batmobile that he drove, I keep bringing it up, but I'm sorry, it was fucking iconic. I think it might be, if not my favorite, my second favorite Batmobile.
You're kind of touching on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I'm not sure that it's an honor, but I don't know that I don't think it's like the like, say, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where it's like you're voted in by peers or something. I'm not sure exactly how it works.
No, you're right.
You actually have to pay. Like, they charge you to put your name down to be on the Walk of Fame.
But first they need to make an offer to you. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to give you this money. I want my name down there. You know, it doesn't exactly work that way.
Depends on how much money.
I'm sure.
I don't know. Maybe we can start a Kickstarter to get a Nerdynomicon Hollywood Walk of Fame. I wonder how much it would cost.
I don't know.
I feel like,
but you know what? I think I should reach out to someone and find out. All right, I'm in. I'm writing that one down. We're gonna figure that out. But anyway, we're not gonna keep talking about this and keep the show as a downer. We're gonna start out on a down note, but we're gonna raise it up real high. Let our freak flags fly, if you will. But we just wanted to definitely touch on the passing of the great, iconic Adam West. Good night, sweet bat.
I can't top that. I mean, so feel free to just cut this part out. But I mean, I don't want it to sound like I don't feel bad, and like I definitely think he was great. There's what else? How do you follow Good Night Sweet Bat? Come on now, you gave me nothing.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry about that, bro. Okay. Well, we've talked about that. You ready to dive into some news? So we got some news here, Adrian.
What kind of news?
Well, let's see what we got to start out with here. First off, are you ready? You ready for this? I'm not sure you've heard about it. One of your favorite movies of all time is getting a sequel 30 years later.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Absolutely not, good sir. Top Gun. It's
Forgetting
gonna be called
Sarah Marshall? Princess Bride? I'm not a Top Gun fan.
You're just ignoring
new
Top
Hot
Gun.
Shots?
No, I was actually being sarcastic about, favorite movie of all time, but I'm not being sarcastic, unfortunately, about this fact. Top Gun is getting a sequel. Do we even want this? Did anybody actually ask for a sequel to Top Gun?
I feel like it's just so late, and I don't think Top Gun was one of
30
those
fucking years.
Exactly.
Man.
I mean, I don't think like Top Gun is one of those timeless franchises.
Not so much. I mean, sure, you still feel bad about Goose, but damn,
you get over it. Life moves on.
You really do. You really do. Tom Cruise is coming back. Val Kilmer's coming back. The title has been officially revealed to be Top Gun: Maverick. Really?
But they're so
Couldn't it spend
old.
an extra 30 seconds on the title?
How old are they now? Like, they're 60s?
I think
50s?
so, yeah.
I feel like you can't be an airport. I feel like you can't be a fighter pilot at that point. Like, no, are they going to duel in like 747s or something? Like, what?
They might still be able to be Air Force pilots. I'm not ageist. I'll let it happen. I'll let it be. But what I will say is, I'm terrified at the prospect of there being another volleyball scene.
I'm
that
going back because I'm not ageist
great
either.
fear of this movie.
I don't think that that older people can't fly fighter planes. I just think they're not allowed to. Like, they're so, like, the Army is so strict on who's allowed to fly. Like, if you wear glasses or contacts, boom, you're out. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like there's a certain point where it's like, oh, you're 29? Get out of here, old man. Your reactions aren't fast enough.
You may be right. Maybe they're the instructors or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they're supposed to be like the bald guy from the first 2 minutes of the movie. I don't know. I don't know. But regardless, man, it's happening. I can't stop it. You can't stop it, Adrian. Maybe somebody out there in Hollywood can. I don't know. But it doesn't look good. It looks like it's happening to us.
What's the original plot? Who were they fighting? Who was Top Gun fighting at the time?
Iraq?
Iraq? Okay.
I think.
But
I also might be thinking of Hot Shots again.
Here's the plot of the new movie. Let's assume it's Iraq. So, Tom Cruise and whoever else is left. There's another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not good enough to be fighter pilots anymore. Iceman.
Okay.
Jean Grey's there and Cyclops.
Oh God, I wish. Oh my God, could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine?
They're playing, I don't know, Ace Combat 6 or Battlefield 19 millionth, whatever, Modern Warfare online, right? And they're the fighter pilots. And they keep getting shot down by some kid who turns out he's in, Afghanistan? Is that what we said? Or
we said Iraq.
Iraq. He's in Iraq. And so they get so angry at him and talking smack about how he screws their moms and whatnot that they fly to Iraq to hunt him down to beat him up over video games. That's the new Top Gun movie.
So it's like one part Top Gun, one part the last 5 minutes of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Pretty much.
I'm in. You want to hear my pitch for the movie?
Okay, do it. I feel like we're stealing this from Couldn't Be Models.
We probably are.
Kind of.
We'll probably talk about it. Here's my pitch for the movie. It's 2 hours of Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise sitting down in front of a screen flying drones.
For a second, I thought you were
talking smack to each other.
I thought you were going to say it's 2 hours of Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer shirtless playing volleyball.
Oh, God. Why? Why would you do that?
What if it's just a volleyball tournament? Like they just entered a volleyball tournament.
I'm pretty sure that one would be Top Gun : Beach Bunnies or something like that. I don't know. I don't think Maverick would necessarily be accurate.
They could
for
have
a title.
They could have a crossover with the Baywatch movie.
Oh,
and
okay. Now
they would
that's a
both
movie
be
I would
as
watch.
relevant as they are or were.
That is a movie I would watch, Adrian Steve.
I still wouldn't watch
God.
it. I wouldn't watch any of it.
All right, moving on from Top Gun Maverick, we're going to talk about Switzerland. You ready for Switzerland?
Sure. I mean, hang on. Let me back up.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Okay, maybe. I'm going to stay neutral.
You're going to stay neutral about talking about Switzerland?
Yep.
They got Swiss cheese, man. They got the clocks. They got the chocolate. What kind of a grudge do you have against Switzerland?
I don't have a grudge against them. I'm just going to remain neutral, as they always do in every war.
Ah, there it is. There it is.
Waving that gray flag.
We'll get ready for Switzerland to take a win because, my friend, they are announcing that there is a school there in Switzerland that has formed a 3-hour-long adults-only class to teach a second language. That language, Klingon. They have the first college in the world to offer Klingon as an accredited course.
But why?
Because homeboys want to learn Klingon.
But why?
That's
funny because I was actually just talking. Somehow got on the subject.
It's funny you were just talking in Klingon the other day.
We were just talking about Star Trek earlier today at work, and I think somehow we got on Pepto something or other, and I was like, oh, like the Pepto blood from that one Star Trek movie. I think it's 6. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Where the Klingons they have like Pepto-Bismol blood. It looks like, and it's all floating around. So I don't know. Talk to Synthaholics.
Yeah, we should talk to Synthaholics. I'll make sure that they know this. They can bring it up on their podcast, seeing as though they are the Star Trek podcast. We don't break the news here. We just react to the news. And my reaction to Switzerland having a class at one of their colleges that teaches Klingon is cool. Where's Dothraki?
Do they have to have one of those Do you know the weapons? I can't remember. It starts with a B, I think. You know what the one I'm talking about? Bothra or something?
A Bricard Noir?
Batleth.
Okay. You know what you should do is look up how to say good night for the end of the show in Klingon.
I'm not that lame. No offense to anyone who's into that. I'll say it in French. Bonsoir.
All right, a couple more things I want to touch on. David and I talked about this on the last episode. We had a reaction video that we so wished you were on for E3, but I described you being at band practice with your band, rocking a keytar. Was that accurate? Are you rocking the keytar?
No keytar. Not yet. You have to work up to the keytar. You don't start on keytar. You know? It's like...
But you'll get there. You'll get to keytar.
It's like...
And then you'll be rocking it out, man.
When you were in music
Feathered mullet and everything.
when you were in music class in elementary school, you didn't go right to the auto harps. You had to fuck around with glockenspiel and recorders first, but so they knew they could trust you to press down a button and strum.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, the reason I'm bringing up last episode is there is one game that I neglected to talk about. Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is coming out, so we're getting a new Cthulhu game, which makes me happy because I love the works of H.P. Lovecraft. It looks like it's going to be another kind of survival horror game, but heavy on the survival element. It looks almost like an Amnesia clone to a degree, but the trailer makes it look good. I watched the trailer for it. I'm not exactly sure what consoles it's coming out or if it's just going to be out for PC, but it's looking good. Looks like sanity meters are going to be in play again, which I could take or leave. I mean, it makes sense canonically and thematically to H.P. Lovecraft's work, but I don't know. I think sanity meters to a degree are played out, so let's see if they do something inventive and innovative with it. But Call of Cthulhu, if that's happening, I'm in.
What other games have done insanity meters? Because, again, I'm not well versed on the genre. The only one that I knew of, and this was a while back, I think it was on GameCube, was Eternal Darkness Sanity.
Eternal Darkness did have one. Yep, that one did have a sanity meter. So did both Amnesia games.
Oh.
So did I think actually every other video game iteration of anything done by H.P. Lovecraft. Those all had sanity meters. It's been done a lot. I want to say that, God, I'm probably wrong about this, but I want to say that Outlast had a sanity meter, but don't quote me on that. It might have just been Pitch Black, but I thought that there was a sanity meter involved in that too. But regardless, man, Call of Cthulhu, new trailer came out at E3. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I hope our audience is excited, because Lovecraft, awesome. I feel like there's a topic here that we should really be discussing about Cthulhu, but we'll get to that in another episode. The one that I wanted to talk to you about is they are remaking Shadow of the Colossus.
Are they just updating graphics and changing a few things here and there, but essentially releasing the same game?
Yeah, basically. Watch the trailer for it. I have got to say, as much as I loved the old game, this new one looks beautiful. Like, you can see the fur flying on some of these colossi, I think is the plural term. Dude, it looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic.
I have not seen it. I played the first one, but I never beat it.
Well, that's unfortunate. The ending is incredible.
I enjoyed it for the most part, but I don't know. It was just kind of like, oh, run around. Here's this boss. Stab him in the bright, shiny circle. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think the last one...
Basically the thesis of the game. But
yeah.
There was a lot more to it story-wise than that. But yeah, that was the core gameplay mechanic.
Well, I guess I didn't get enough of the story to continue going. Because, yeah, the last thing I remember fighting was like a flying, like a bird creature, and you start out in the water, and you're fighting...
Oh, dude, you got only like halfway through.
Yep. Got bored, I guess.
Oh, depressing. The ending is so good.
Well, the middle needed to be better.
Oh, Adrian, Steve, you're so snarky.
I don't have a lot of time, Robbie.
You're surly,
I don't have
Adrian.
time. I'm running out of time.
I think I've got something that you did have the time for, and I'm ready to start talking about it with you. Our last piece of news, the Black Panther trailer just dropped, man. They couldn't give Wonder Woman more than 2 weeks. They gave it maybe a week tops. It's sitting at number 1. Everybody's talking about Gal Gadot. Oh, Wonder Woman. Oh, this is absolutely amazing. Which, by the way, it still fucking is. If you haven't seen it, go watch Wonder Woman. Seriously, such a good movie. But then Marvel decided, you want a chick? You think it's cute having a chick up there? Boom. We got a black guy. Boom. Black Panther. Adrian, you just watched this trailer like 2 minutes before we sat down to this table. What did you think?
I thought it was good. I'm one of my the visuals look great.
Yes.
The story.
Agreed.
I think the thing that I'm most excited about is I know nothing about it. I know about Wolverine from the comic books and the cartoons, and I know about Spider-Man, and I know I have no clue who Black Panther is. I know he was in the previous movie, Civil War.
Right.
But
I know he's the king of Wakanda.
yes. And I don't know where Wakanda is, what they do. I don't know.
Oh, you find out a little bit about
Yeah.
Wakanda right there in that trailer. By the way, Martin Short in the movie. I'm in. Dr. Watson himself. Dude, if you didn't have me before, you had me with him.
Martin Short?
So, Martin Short.
Is that his name? Are you sure? I'm thinking
No.
the comedian. Is it Freeman?
Martin Freeman.
Oh,
Martin
please,
Short.
thank
What
God.
the
Okay,
fuck?
I was like,
Dude, I am off my game tonight. Martin Freeman.
I was
Yes,
like,
thank you.
which
Bilbo
one-
Baggins.
Which one was Martin Short? I
Dr.
was like,
Watson.
I did not recognize him.
No, Martin Freeman. That was my mistake. My mistake. Jesus Christ, if he's listening, I'm sorry, Martin.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. But mostly Freeman. Freeman seems cooler. And he's all Britishy.
I don't know. I don't think you're giving Martin Short his due. I mean, he was in The Three Amigos, which is one of the greatest movies of all time.
But is it?
Yes?
But is it?
Yes. I mean, if you just want something to laugh at, just ridiculous and, all-star cast.
There's an all-star cast,
How can you
yes.
beat Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short?
That's true. All right. I still don't know about one of the best of all time, but it is a great movie.
I mean, if we're talking
a great
about
movie.
just comedies.
Yeah. But getting back to Black Panther, all I really know about him is King of Wakanda, and his suit has vibranium in it, especially the claws. It's the exact same metal that's used to make Captain America's shield. So I'm very excited for this. Another name for Wakanda, we find out, is El Dorado. So I think that's a really cool little tidbit to throw in there. But yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the best parts about this is the trailer looks good. It's definitely wet my beak. I'm excited for it, but I know nothing about it. They have not whipped their dick out, slapped it on the table, and said, this is what you guys are getting. I am intrigued, and I love the mystery that's surrounding it. So Marvel did this right. They finally did this one right. The Spider-Man Homecoming trailer, even though I'm very excited to see it, showed me way too much about what we're going to be getting there. Mm-hmm. Black Panther did it right, I think.
Just to go back on something you touched on. You said his suit has vibranium in it?
Yes.
And it's the same as Captain America's shield?
Yes, the same metal. Apparently that's where vibranium comes from on Marvel's version of Earth.
So, hypothetically,
yes,
if Captain America were to throw Black Panther, would Black Panther then spin around, bounce off a bunch of guys, and then come right back to Captain America and he would catch him?
Probably not, seeing as though they explained that away with like a hyper magnet that's on his wrist gauntlet. But the visual is cool.
It's a hyper magnet, and it's the same metal.
The visual is cool, I'll give you that. I mean, dude, have Ant-Man shrink him down to like kitten size, so you got Black Kitty Cat, and then he just whips him around. He's like, go, kitty, go! Dude, that would be amazing.
Black Kitten.
Oh my god.
Come on, Marvel.
That's
give
the
us
sequel.
some money.
That's the sequel. We'll write it.
We already wrote Top Gun sequel.
Exactly.
And Baywatch's crossover. Why are people not giving us money? I don't get it.
We're rolling in these good ideas here, Marvel. We're rolling in them. If you don't pick this up, man, somebody else will. Then you'll have some sort of battle going on here. Ooh, we could write that movie. A boardroom thriller starring Casey Affleck.
Which one's Casey?
That's the brother to Ben.
Brother. Okay. For some reason I thought Casey was
Manchester
girl.
by the Sea? No. Dude from Manchester by the Sea.
Okay.
One of the getaway drivers from Ocean's 11.
There's so many people in Ocean's 11.
One of the getaway drivers from Ocean's 11. There's two of them. One that was in Gone in 60 Seconds. The other one was in
You're not getting me any
from
closer, man. Like, I appreciate what you're doing. Like, I remember I had watched Ocean's 11. I'm not placing anyone in Ocean's 11 other than George Clooney,
yes.
Brad Pitt,
and
probably Bernie Mac.
What about Matt Damon?
What about Matt Damon? And Julia Roberts is in there too, right?
Yes, but what about Matt Damon?
What about Matt Damon?
Matt Damon's in the movie.
So, Matt Damon.
He's on your list.
Matt Damon is indirectly responsible for Batman versus Superman. Okay? So, he's on my shit list. If he had not gotten Ben Affleck famous, you know what? We could have avoided. Hold on. We could have avoided Pearl Harbor.
True.
We could have avoided Batman versus Superman.
Both Pearl Harbor, both the event and the movie.
We could have avoided Daredevil with Ben Affleck. We could have avoided Geely, I think, was Ben Affleck.
Yes.
We could have avoided a lot of stuff if it weren't for Matt Damon. That's all I'm saying.
Fair. Okay. I don't agree with your hate, but I understand it, at least.
He was the bomb in Phantoms, though.
Dude, Affleck, Phantom's like a motherfucker.
I knew you'd like that.
What's up now, bitches? Black Panther's coming, man. Unlike Top Gun, we don't want this one stopped. Bring it to us, man. It's coming to us. It's coming all over our face, necks, and collective chests.
I love how we're nowhere on topic on any of this.
Not even remotely. We're just having fun, man. It's been a long week. We don't have the usual energy and, on point dialogue rat-tat-tat that we usually do. Do we actually really always have that?
We edit that in afterwards.
Special effects, post-production, gotta love it. It's been a long week for both of us, so really, we're just talking about the fun times. We're just letting things happen. It's just pouring out of our mouths. What do you think, Adrian? Is it time to get to the main topic?
I think we could do that, yeah.
All right, take us there, man. You told me about a movie that you just happened to check out, a little movie that you happened to watch, and it freaked me out when you were describing it. It's like, oh, it's about this. And I'm like, why would I want to watch that? No, right? But you need to watch it. And I'm like, no, you're not answering my question. Why do I want to watch it?
I was like, no, just watch it.
You need to watch it.
Just watch it. Trust me.
A third fucking time. Why would I want to watch it? And then finally I just got sick of trying to get an answer out of you, and I sat down and watched it.
I remember I told you it gets really fucking weird. And just from the description, you're like, yeah, I can tell it's already fucking weird. It's like, no, it gets really fucking weird.
So, if you can't tell by the title of this episode, the movie is Tickled. It is a documentary. You can currently find it streaming on HBO. And yes, by the way, there is a follow-up. We'll touch on that very briefly. But Adrian, seeing as though you found this movie, and I didn't even know they made this. I didn't know they made people like this, let alone this movie. Why don't you tell us about what happens in Tickled?
Well, first off, I want to give credit where credit's due. I did not find this. My girlfriend Tavia found it. So.
Oh, well, props to your girlfriend Tavia.
And
hi, Tavia.
She had the exact same reaction that I did to you. She's like, you have to watch this. I was like, what is this? It's like, it's a documentary about tickling. It's like, why would I want to watch that? And it's like, no, trust me, you got to watch this. It's like, but why? It's like, no, it gets weird. So, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm taking a look at our text stream right now. Dude, I just saw this movie called Tickled. You have to watch it. I write back, why? No, trust me, you just need to watch this. It's about competitive tickling. I ask again, why? Why would I want to watch this? Adrian writes back again, no, but you need to watch this movie. Me again, for the third time, why would I want to watch that? Then it's blank until I reply back, dude, watched it last night, what the fuck?
Yep, I love that. It's funny.
So that is our true text exchange right there. So we're kind of teasing everybody. If you haven't seen Tickled, this is a movie about the seedy underworld of competitive and professional tickling. And I am not being sarcastic when I say that. That is literally what this movie starts out to be about. But it becomes so much more than that.
Yeah, we're not joking.
That's
I know we joke around.
Right there.
Yeah, we joke around all the time. This is not a joke. It's a documentary. And it's not a mockumentary. It's not like one of those fake found footage things like The Fourth Kind, which, by the way, I love that movie.
Oh, the fourth kind was fantastic.
Really liked fourth kind, but this is not that.
So good.
This is like a dude who was just looking for an article to write for a blog or whatever he was writing for. Reached out because he found these tickling videos online. He's like, I don't know what this is. I can probably write a little bit about this, and tried to get more information, and was immediately met with extremely hostile and aggressive responses. And it was really strange and curious. And he's like, I don't really understand why these people don't want to talk to me. And it was like, I mean, they kind of said why they didn't want to, but it wasn't a good reason. It's not like, we don't really want our stuff in the news. It's just like, well, you're a gay person. We don't want to be associated with you and your writing and your gay blog or whatever it was. And it's like,
yeah, but then it gets even worse than that because they start fucking verbally going after him, calling him a faggot, calling him. I read some of the words on the screen. Faggot over and over, faggot in the subject line and everything like that. I'm not throwing that word around because I enjoy using it whatsoever. I'm trying to, punctuate the point of how vicious and how quickly this turned. You said it exactly right. It starts out they don't want to be associated with this guy because he is a homosexual and his sexuality is not what they believe. And then completely unprovoked, he sent no other emails. They just start fucking attacking him.
Yeah. Yeah, they start basically harassing him through emails and other
flat out
forms.
Cyberbullying him.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this guy lives in New Zealand. He's not even from the United States. So they're intercontinentally cyberbullying this man.
Yeah, and it's crazy. As you can say, like that, and that's just the beginning of it. So this is like a full documentary.
This takes place
it's like
in the
90
first 10 minutes.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in it and you have access, and you want to stop and watch it and come back, totally recommend it, because we're going to talk about everything a little bit on here, but it's kind of that following him on his journey of discovery is incredibly gratifying. It's really interesting, and it's one of those. It's almost like, I won't say a murder mystery, but it's a straight up mystery. It's just like, what is going on? And this guy's just trying to dig to get to the bottom of it, and he's like unveiling, like, okay, here's this new weird thing, and here's this clue. And he's like piecing things together, and he's putting himself in some kind of dangerous situations to figure stuff out. And they're threatening him with like legal ramifications and all this other stuff.
They're sending fucking private investigators both in New York, which I don't understand why in New York, and also in New Zealand. So he's got people hounding him, following him. I mean, this is some scary shit.
Yeah, it's really nuts. And they start harassing his partner, not his romantic partner, but his documentary partner,
not his lover, but his partner in crime. I believe they even started to get harassment going toward the producer as well, because he had a partner as far as making the documentary itself, But I think they even started to go after his producer, and the producer was not having it whatsoever.
So yeah, it was interesting. It's just a very, very interesting journey of discovering like what is competitive tickling, and then it seems like competitive tickling isn't actually a thing. Like they call it this, but that's not what it is.
All right, we're gonna stop right here and give you guys some spoiler tags. Okay, we're gonna start talking about this movie in a little bit more depth. If you want to keep this movie fresh, which again, this is a documentary. This is not exactly like the next M. Night Shyamalan movie. You're not going to be missing anything by knowing what happens in this film, because I really recommend you watch this just to let it happen to you. People watch documentaries all the time about things that they already know the full story of. They just want to hear more information. They want to be surrounded by it. But I will say part of the intriguing nature of this movie the first time I watched it was sitting there watching this unfold around me and having the realization of this is not what I expected it to be, which is going to be our main topic for discussion tonight. So if you want to keep it fresh, why don't you go ahead and pause this podcast right now and go watch Tickled.
Agreed.
I'm gonna count to 5, and then we're gonna keep on talking about this movie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, guys, spoilers for the rest of the episode because we're gonna be talking about this movie here, okay? Tickled on HBO. What the shit? The dude that's in charge of all of this is some fat, bald guy in New Jersey? Because of course it would be.
Yeah, and the craziest thing I thought
pretending
was,
to be like not one, not two, but like 3 or 4 different women.
well, and he's pretending to have a whole company, and he's pretending all this different stuff, and it's realizing that it's this one dude. I will say, hang on, I'll back up. Allegedly, it's this one dude, from what we can tell, from what's been presented to us. You know, because we are only seeing one side of it, but he seems to have the facts to back it up. You know,
He really does.
So,
he really, really does, yes.
But, so it appears it's this one guy who really loves these tickle videos, and you know what? If that was it, that's it. That's fine. You know, he's
however you want to get your rocks off in this best of all possible worlds. You know, if you like beating off, watching a sheep fuck another sheep, more power to you. Just don't break any laws and don't put anyone in danger.
Exactly. And
unfortunately, he violates that mandate.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's really putting them in danger, like physical danger or danger of harm, physical harm, or their dying or death, nothing like that. But,
not necessarily true.
But he does go out of his way to ruin the reputation of the people that were in these videos.
Not just ruin, but destroy.
Yeah.
Like, people are getting fired. People are contemplating suicide over the acts that this guy does. He's committing federal crimes up and down the line to destroy these people's lives because they don't want to be tickled on video for his pleasure anymore. But what you said about, not in any sort of physical danger, I'm not necessarily positive that is so. Because if you look at the duration of some of these tickling videos, these people are being tickled in upwards of 2 to 3 hours on video. Without cooldown times, one person admitted. If these people have any sort of pre-existing cardio conditions, heart conditions, that's enough to possibly put them into a heart attack. Yeah, I realize you're getting tickled of your own free will and everything, but I'm pretty sure the majority of these people would not have signed on for 2 or 3 hours of straight tickling. Because that's not just tickling, that's tickle torture. That's the possibility of passing out due to oxygen deprivation, because the tickling could be so intense, depending on how ticklish they are. That is, with all the physical exertion, that is a possibility of having your body go into shock or having a heart attack, possibly even having a stroke. I mean, these people this guy and his little cronies put these people literally through torture, literally through things that actually do have articles and statutes assigned to them in the Geneva Convention. Because I looked into it, there actually are tickle protocols in the Geneva Convention. So, think about that for a second.
That blows my mind that there are articles about tickling.
It's technically a form of torture, man. Tickle torture was a thing even back in the Dark Ages, even during the Spanish Inquisition. The feather used to be used to essentially torture people. They would tickle them for hours and hours, and in a couple of documented cases, and I'm looking at my notes on this because I did look into it as I was watching the movie, because actually the tickling in this movie was almost cringeworthy. Like, I actually had to look away. There's very few things that make me have to look away when I'm watching them. Rapes, things to do with teeth, and things to do with fingernails. But this tickling, it was cringeworthy to see it happening. And also very homoerotic for a guy that was going off on the filmmaker about him being a homosexual. It was very, very homoerotic, so I think this guy might be a closet case self-loather. But I digress.
Well, they actually kind of talked about that. I can't remember if they talked about it in the movie. I think it was towards the end of the actual movie, not in the second part, which is obviously much shorter.
Right.
The guy's stepmother, because she knew about the tickling videos. And I remember the guy, the documentarian from New Zealand, kind of gets in touch with her and talking to her about it, and she's like, he started again? Like, so she knows about it. And
right, his answer is, he never stopped.
Right, and she was mentioning that his relationship with his father was so strained, and his father really hated gay people, and so she thought maybe it was potentially that he just didn't like him, that he was gay, but he couldn't accept it because his father hated it and he loved his father, and his, all this like deep-seated mental anguish, right, which of course doesn't make the actions any more acceptable or excusable. But
not at all.
I think you're right on the money with that as being a possibility.
And if that's the case, even if he is a homosexual, that's totally fine. But him trying to cyberbully a documentarian who's only trying to follow a story, something silly and goofy and lighthearted. Because I can guarantee you he did not sign up for the film that he got when he started making Tickled.
Nope.
It fell into his lap, and I'm sure he's thrilled about it.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure he meant to make something much more akin to a real-life version of Best in Show or This Is Spinal Tap. Not something so dark and malevolent. Well, we're trying to find this guy and falling down the rabbit hole, finding out how deep it goes. This was a really well-made documentary, first off, and the subject matter was just... It's surreal to think that it was true, or that it is true, because all the members of this, all the focal points of this movie are still alive. Like, the Tickle King, as they refer to him in the little follow-up sequel, he's still out there in New Jersey, eating a hoagie, smelling that smell, because, he's in New Jersey.
And threatening with lawsuits.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my... Dude, I have not seen anybody threaten lawsuits so frivolously since the last time I turned on news about Trump. Jesus jumping Christ. It's a lawsuit this. Well, that's a civil thing. Oh, no, it's not. I studied law. Oh, you quasi-studied law. You basically bought your degree, and you were disbarred. You can't practice law. So, yeah. Yeah, this guy was a lawyer. And he all but bought his degree. It's not like he graduated from Harvard and he's has a doctorate in studying law. Homeboy's basically gotten his degree from Chico State. He went to a couple of very well-respected universities, but then they found out, oh, homeboy likes the tickles, homeboy can leave. So...
Is that actually what happened?
Yeah. They specifically cite the fact that he was in Fordham Law School. They found out about what happened with the tickling and the fact that he went to prison, and he was kicked out of school.
Okay, I don't remember that part. I thought he graduated from... maybe I'm mistaken. I thought he graduated from a pretty prestigious school, but it seemed like it was just a bought for, it was just a paid degree.
It wasn't actually Chico State. That's my go-to as far as Bob's school. But I do know that they specifically stated in the documentary that he was kicked out of Fordham. And I only remember Fordham because that was the college that Michael J. Fox's character went to in Spin City. My brain makes associations in a really weird way.
It sure does.
But the point of the matter is, Tickled was not what I was expecting, especially when Adrian cryptically told me that it was mandatory, especially for the podcast, that I watch a documentary about tickling. And I'm like, Adrian, what the fuck are you doing to this show? Seriously, what are you doing? And then I sat down to watch Tickled, and I'm like, we need to talk about this. Come up with a topic to kind of build around it. We need to talk about this documentary. And I'm glad we did. I'm glad you told me about this documentary. I probably would have overlooked it otherwise. Because, really, who would sit down and voluntarily watch a documentary about professional tickling?
My girlfriend.
From Dickie. Well, your girlfriend, Dickie, probably Hobart. All right. If given the right circumstances, I probably would too.
You know what? If I came across it, if I was in the right mood, I probably would have clicked on it too, because, if you just read, okay, it's called Tickled, and you start reading and it's competitive tickling and documentary, and you're like, what? What could this possibly be? You get curious. You just got to be in that right state. So, and I fully believe if I had been in that state and came across it, I would have watched it, and I would have been blown away. And I would have, again, I told you to watch it and told her to watch it and tell everyone to watch it, because it's just really interesting. It's like getting to follow a modern detective story.
Right.
So.
And it really was too. That was the perfect analogy of it. Getting to follow a detective story like that. Perfect analogy. All right, so why don't you kick off our main topic, which you built around for this movie?
Because I don't wanna. I want to talk about the follow-up real quick before we go into the main topic.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Go for it.
Because So the interesting thing is the end of the documentary. There's not really much of a resolution on anything. They think they figured out who's behind the tickling videos. They think they figured out why the tickling videos are being made, and they think they figured out, how they're being funded, and they think they've pretty much figured everything out for the most part. Not that there aren't any loose ends to tie up, but they just they made their movie. And that's a documentary that you watched, right? Tickled.
Right.
And then they start taking it around to festivals. And that's where the follow-up starts. And they're taking it around to festivals, and people are coming, being really suspicious around the festivals. They are trying to record it, or they're trying to do these different things, or they're causing a ruckus, and
they're putting a camera in a soft drink.
Yeah, they're doing they're doing weird things, and private investigators from somewhere, or from I think New York or New Jersey, are coming to this festival somewhere else, and it's very, very fishy. And some of the people that you meet in the first, in the documentary, that were sent kind of to, I want to say, like, diplomatically harass. They were sent to diplomatically harass the documentarian to, like, try to get him to stop. They show up. So, I mean, so clearly it's not over. And
no,
and then
not by a long shot.
The man himself, because I think he gets approached in the documentary. I think you get just a few seconds of him.
He does. Just a very short amount. You barely see him right at the end.
Yeah. He's not there for very long. That guy shows up in the follow-up at one of the screenings.
Tickle King himself.
He shows up, but he almost. It might be a little dramatic to say he refuses to speak. But he kind of refuses to speak. He's like, he's not happy with the way that the documentary portrays him. Totally fine. But he's there at the festival, and it's like, the documentarian, God, I wish I could remember his name, but the guy who made the documentary invites him up on stage. He's like, let's talk about it. You're here, I'm here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about where I got things wrong. Let's talk about it. And the guy's like, no, I just want to sit here in the audience, and I just want to sit here during the Q&A and just listen and just... He just turns him down, and then at the end he has some extra stuff to say, and it's more kind of legal threats, thinly veiled legal threats and this and that. So it's really bizarre, and it just continues. It's just like every time you're like, wow, this is weird, it gets weirder in the next 5 minutes. You're like, there's no way it gets weirder than this. And 5 minutes later, you're like, what is happening?
Just an extra layer into this tiramisu of what the fuck,
So if you watched Tickled and came back to listen to the podcast, go back and watch the frickin' follow-up. It should be available also on HBO or wherever else you see it.
Called The Tickle King.
The Tickle King. Watch it, because the story continues.
I'm pretty sure that was your nickname in college, wasn't it, Adrian?
The story continues? Sure was.
I was referring to the Tickle King, but you took a diss and you turned it around and made it liquid gold. Props. Good on you. Good on you, Adrian Steve.
That's what I do. So
right, now you ready for the main topic?
Main topic.
Yes.
So when I was trying to describe this to Robbie without giving it away, I think the thing that kind of can hone in on is that this is something that is not what it seems on the surface. I mean, I think that's a severe understatement for this documentary.
Very true. I believe the giant in Twin Peaks said it best when he said the owls are not what they seem.
So, and same thing in The Fourth Kind. The owls, right?
Yeah, that's right. The owls were not what they seem.
Full circle. But, so, it's like, it was a huge case of things are not what they seem.
Right.
And so I wanted to talk about some of our favorite or least favorite moments of things are not what they seem in movies and TVs and games, and just kind of get away from all the weird, get away from the weirdness and bring it back to the fun.
Agreed. If you don't mind, I'll start with kind of not the best example, but something that I really wanted to retouch on, and that was Riverdale. When I first heard that they're making an Archie TV series, I was expecting it to be traditional Archie. I wasn't expecting something dark. I wasn't expecting Twin Peaks light. I was not expecting what I got. I'm not expecting Jughead to be affiliated in some way with a biker gang. I'm not expecting there to be a murder mystery. I'm not expecting there to be allusions to incest. I'm not expecting any of that. And what I ended up getting was Riverdale with a phenomenal cast, with actors just doing the best, some of the best work that I've seen on the CW, period. I was not expecting characters to be insane. I was not expecting the allusions to possibly getting an Afterlife with Archie storyline in the following season. I was not expecting murder. I was not expecting statutory rape. I was not expecting almost anything that I got. The only thing that I was expecting and that I did get was that whole oh shucks or doodles mindset coming from Archie Andrews. Everything else, I was not expecting the Betty Cooper that I got, the Veronica Lodge that I got, the Jughead Jones that I got. I was not expecting anything that was in that show, and I was so pleasantly surprised. So that is a ringing endorsement. If you have not watched Riverdale, I know it's about Archie, but watch it. Holy shit, was it good. Damn good. Season 1 up on Netflix right now. You've got no reason to not watch it, man. It's up on Netflix.
And I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to go with a negative, because this is the first thing that popped into my head.
Fair enough, because I'm going to be chasing it up with a negative too, Adrian.
Okay, I'll try to come up with a positive. I don't think my initial positive is as good of an example as I had thought initially. But anyways, negative. I think, and this may be more of a bait and switch or switcheroo than things are not what they seem. But we were talking about the series recently, and we both love Metal Gear Solid. But
yes.
Man, Metal Gear Solid 2 was one of the biggest switcheroos, things are not what they seem, that I've come across in the negatives. Like, you're finally going to get to play as Solid Snake again. You're going to take on Metal Gear again. And I remember they released the demo, and you had to buy Zone of the Enders to play the demo, and the demo was amazing. And it was just the first part of the game. And I probably played it 100 times because it was so good.
Right.
And then you get past everything that the demo encapsulates. You get past that in the regular game, and you're playing some fucking whiny, long-haired, snot-nosed hippie with a annoying and boring girlfriend. You're like, where's my Solid Snake? Why am I this guy?
Yep.
Why?
You want you some Snake, and you end up getting you some Raiden.
It's the worst. And then he keeps showing up later on in all the other games in the series. And I feel like they were bringing him back in certain games to be like, oh, haha, remember when we did this to you? Now we're going to do something mean to him to try to try to make it up to you guys. And then they also, they did. I mean, they had him running around naked at one point, or like they got tased. I forget. Something happens to him in Metal Gear Solid 3. You're like, haha, screw you, right? And I fucking hate you. But then around Metal Gear Solid 4 or somewhere in that timeline, they try to make him a cool ninja, but it's
a cyborg ninja.
It's Raiden, so it sucks anyways. So
fair enough.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2. God damn it. Why would you do that? Why? But you know what? To be fair, if I have to suffer through Metal Gear Solid 2 to get to the goal that is Metal Gear Solid 3, worth it. I'll take that 10 times out of 10. 100 times on Sunday. Whatever the fucking saying is. So.
Absolutely.
So again, if you have not played Metal Gear Solid 3, fucking play it. Oh my god, play it.
Oh my god, one of the best ever made. Alright, you ready for a negative from me?
Are you ready for a negative from you? You're always Mr. Positivity.
I try to be Mr. Positivity, and then I saw Collateral Beauty. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. This is a movie, came out in 2016. It stars Will Smith, Edward Norton, Kate Winslet, Michael Pena, Helen Mirren, Naomi Harris, Keira Knightley, Jacob Lattimore. The list goes on and on. Kylie Rogers, Alyssa Cheatham. Hell of a cast, am I right?
Very good.
Yeah. Let me tell you about this movie. The concept of this movie, at least according to the trailer and at least according to the box, and also according to IMDb, retreating from life after a tragedy, a man questions the universe by writing to love, time, and death. Receiving unexpected answers, he begins to see how these things interlock and how loss can reveal moments of meaning and beauty. So essentially, this man loses his daughter in a tragic accident. And what the trailer tries to portray to you is that his best friends, 3 of his best friends, are terribly worried about him. And they're seeing him just kind of falling and spiraling into depression. And they find out that he is writing letters to love, to time, and to death and putting them in the mailbox. And then, lo and behold, the personifications of love, death, and time show up. And they start trying to help him through his grieving process, trying to help him move on with life. And it's the trailer makes it look so beautiful. I mean, it actually kind of choked me up looking at this movie. I'm like, this looks incredible. I mean, it sounds pretty damn cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is not at all what the movie is about.
Oh, sorry,
that
man.
Trailer fucking lies. The truth of the matter is, his best friends see how upset and depressed he is. His best friends see how upset and depressed he is. He's best friends. I just want to keep that in mind. They then decide that they're going to hire a private investigator to follow him and find out what he's doing. They find out that he's been writing these letters to death, time, and love. And they're like, yeah, he's fucking lost it. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to hire 3 actors to follow him around, pretending to be these personifications, and get him to talk to him. Then we're going to have our private detective take pictures of it, Photoshop him out, and then present them to his boss to get him fired. Because if he's fired, he's not going to mess up at work anymore.
Oh, what great friends.
Yeah, exactly. That is what that movie is about. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoilers if anybody that actually wanted to see Collateral Beauty, is listening to this. You know what? Fuck it, no. I'm not going to apologize about not putting a spoiler tag there because I just saved you. I just did you a favor. I just saved you your rental fee. I just saved you the possibility of buying the DVD. This movie is one of the biggest pieces of garbage I have ever seen in my life. This movie pissed me off. Any movie that has such an amazingly good trailer like that just makes me feel good, and I'm like, this is going to be the feel-good movie of the year. I'm going to watch this when I'm in a really bad space. This movie looks like it's going to be great, and it's got Edward Norton in it, one of my favorite actors. Will Smith, amazing actor. Keira Knightley, not a great actress, but hot as hell. I'm a watcher. And then I get this piece of shit? Oh my god, there's got to be laws against this. There should be laws against trailers just flat out lying to you as to what the contents of their movie is. Because this was just wrong. Just wrong on so many levels. So, that is going to be my negative example.
That being said, Robbie?
Yeah.
6 out of 10. I just feel like
6.5 because Will Smith can cry on command like that. No, this movie deserves a 2 at best.
Wow, I've never heard you so disappointed.
This movie was terrible, especially because it got me so hyped up and so excited for the prospect of what this movie could be because of the trailer. I was really excited to see this movie, and I was depressed when I finished it because of how different it was, because of how bad it was, because of how stupid and sloppy the story was. So this movie was bad. Oh, you know what we didn't do is rate and review, we reviewed it, but we didn't rate Tickled.
I mean, it's a documentary, so I don't know if
yeah, but I've seen some bad
rating...
documentaries.
That's true. I would just say watch it. I mean, it's a documentary that's good enough that you should just watch it. So if you want 2 out of 2, 2 out of 2, there you go. But I don't know.
I'll give it, out of 5 feathers, I'm going to give it 5 ticklish feathers way in the air. I think this was an amazing documentary. I think it's one of the best that I've seen.
Yeah. And that was probably one of the main reasons is like you have to watch this. Not only is it a good documentary, but it's really interesting and weird. It's almost like watching a movie As I said,
Yes,
you're watching
it
a
is.
detective story unfold.
Right.
And you're seeing the detective getting harassed by the people he's, investigating
Right.
the entire time. I mean, this could easily, if the subject was something different, if it wasn't tickling, this could be just a movie. It could just be a
really
movie
could.
plot. Nobody would ever write a movie plot where the big secret is competitive tickling. Like that would
Well,
get
they
rejected.
will now.
That would get rejected immediately. But fucking real life stranger than fiction, and so yeah, definitely watch it. Two thumbs up, 10 feathers in the air, 2 armpits.
Wow. It's almost like we're reversed today because now you're the happy, enthusiastic one. I stopped at 5 and you're giving it 10 feathers.
Well, 10 out of 10.
You're half.
Did you give it
you're
5 out of
halfway
10?
there to. I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Oh, okay, well, that's
I'll
the
give it a
same.
10 out of 10. That's fine, but you're halfway to making a feather bed at this point.
20 out of 20. It's the same.
I love this version of
fractions.
you, Adrian.
They're the same.
Did you have any more examples of the little bait and switch, the little switcheroos that we got going on?
I was able to think of one good one. My original good one, which I'm not going to go into details because everyone's heard it, everyone's seen it. It's a million years old, even though it's not. Was The Matrix. But I thought about that and I was like, I don't think that really fits. That's kind of like the world isn't as it seems. That's not really what I'm going for. My new good example of things are not as they seem. Cabin in the Woods.
Yes! Fucking metal, man. I love that movie. Love that movie so much.
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. It's been a long time since I watched it, but yeah, it's you go in and everything is set up for it to be a straight-laced horror movie, and then things just fall off the rails, and you are sitting there like, what is happening? Is this
Events
serious? Is this for
transpire.
sure? Or is this real life? Are you kidding me? So I don't want to spoil Cabin in the Woods if anyone hasn't seen it yet, because it's kind of a small. I don't know if underground is the right, but it was not
definitely
a big
not
movie.
underground. It did get a wide release, but it didn't get a lot of attention and notoriety. It has since found its audience. It's a Joss Whedon joint. Joss Whedon pieces of intellectual property always find their audience, whether it be Buffy or Dollhouse. You will find your Joss Whedon. When the Joss speaks, you will listen. And Cabin in the Woods is no exception. This movie is fantastic. It is excellent. It is funny. It is scary. It subverts the genre while basically creating a new one. Cabin in the Woods is incredible. You need to just go watch it as soon as you're done with this podcast.
Yeah, and it's a great example of not what it seems.
For sure, man. Great example. Ooh, I was not expecting that. That good poll.
Oh yeah, that one popped into my head as we were recording. I was like, I know there's a good example here. I just gotta find it.
Right on, man. Oh, great example. All right, guys, before we get out of here, let us tell you where to find us, okay? If you like what you're hearing, you want to reach out to us, you can tweet at us at Nerdynomicon. You can follow our Instagram at Artful Gremlins. That's our production group. You can email us, nerdynomicon@gmail.com, and you can also join in the laughs, join in the fun, join in the conversations that we have over on our Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/nerdynomicon. And if you like what we're doing here, if you like what you're hearing, if you want to help support us, paying for something you guys get for free apparently is a thing now, and you can do that over at patreon.com/artfulgremlins. You guys can get early access to most of our shows when I can get them up on Patreon. When I'm not recording it the night before it goes up, it goes over to Patreon first, as well as a bunch of other cool rewards and everything like that over there. And that's not just for Nerdynomicon, it's for our other show, Couldn't Be Models. So once again, that address, patreon.com/artfulgremlins. If you guys don't either like us enough or don't have the money to support us, that's totally fine. You can also help us out by going to iTunes and giving us a rating and especially a review. Every single one of those helps us climb further up on the charts where more people can find us. Because as I've said before, you can't be a Nerdynomicon hipster if the world doesn't know about us. And then you get to be like, I used to know Adrian back when he was surly.
I'm always going to be surly. That's not going to be a problem. Money is not going to change my surliness because people will still remain sucking.
All right, man. I think that's going to take us out of it. Until next time, I've been Robbie.
And I've been Adrian.
Let's close the book, brother.